The 9 red scabbards. What a bunch of monstrous, merciless mad lads. After 2 weeks of break, we're finally back with the fresh chapter, titled 𝚂𝚘𝚎, a pretty specific word, which literally means the remnants of the defeated party, referring to both Marco and the remaining Whitebeard pirates, as well as Odin's retainers. I think this chapter was absolutely phenomenal, because not only do we get one of the best drawn battle sequences of Wano so far, but also have a great number of small character moments, including Big Mom's discussion with Marco, which we definitely have to talk about in depth, and even a small Odin flashback that hit me way harder than I thought it would. At this point, I can genuinely say that I finally completely care about the scabbards, and am fully emotionally invested into their cause. I would have wished for a little more Yamato in this chapter, especially with the reveal of her official color scheme, but at least we got a small glimpse of her chasing after Momo and Shinobu. Other than that, the last page left me with absolute goosebumps, and not because it's pretty much winter now where I live. So let's jump right into this chapter. Oh yeah, and if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, make sure to hit that big red button below this video. I want to start by quickly talking about the great color spread we got in this chapter. We see the Straw Hats having a small feast on board of the sea train. It's a really peaceful and upbeat scene, and we even see Kumamon, the official mascot of Kumamoto City, Oda's hometown, sitting next to Jinbei and enjoying some beer. The thing that people will undoubtedly talk about though is the bowl that Zoro is eating ramen out of, which has a blue dragon on it that without any doubt is supposed to be a reference to Kaido. Now, as you might know, I'm pretty much certain that Luffy has to be the one to take down Kaido, and I'm not a big fan of Zoro defeating or killing Kaido. However, I honestly wouldn't mind at all seeing Zoro being part of the group that takes on Kaido over the course of this arc. It might also just be Oda trolling people once again. Anyways, I just wanted to mention that real quick, but let's move on to the chapter now. We start off outside the enormous dome, where we see that Big Mom has actually stopped rolling at some point and has encountered the quite unusual infiltration team of 𝚑𝚎𝚘𝚎 and Marco. And it seems as if the conversation within the group has already been going for a little, as 𝚑𝚎𝚘𝚎 apparently already has voiced his concerns about Big Mom's alliance with Kaido, and tells Big Mom that they want her to become Pirate King, and not Kaido. What I absolutely love about this moment here is that Big Mom has been away from the Straw Hats for exactly 1 minute, and immediately has reverted to her collected Yonko appearance. It's remarkable that the comedic and eccentric state of her only seems to come out once she comes within like 20 meters of the crew. And I think that this contrast not only reflects the instability of her personality, that at times makes her appear like a helpless and hurt child, and at others like a strategic and intimidating monster, but it also makes her a richer and more organic character in my opinion. I absolutely love Yonko Big Mom, and I love Meme Big Mom. The combo of both is what makes it even better for me. And so this cool and collected Big Mom here makes it clear to 𝚑𝚎𝚘𝚎 that she's very well aware of the implications of her decision and questions her son's trust in her. Another thing I immensely enjoyed about this moment is the way she interacts with Marco. While there is some obvious level of hostility in their exchange, knowing that they will soon be facing each other on the battlefield, there nonetheless is this strong sense of mutual respect that has an incredibly epic feel to it. Yes, Big Mom and Whitebeard were rivals, but they also served under the same captain, and it's quite clear that neither is belittling the other here. And in general, please correct me if you think I'm wrong, at times it almost feels like there is at least some sense of familiarity between the Yonko crews, in the sense that at least the higher-ups have met at least a couple of times. Just like Big Mom has clearly met King before, 𝚑𝚎𝚎𝚎 and Marco also give off the impression that they've met before and then as a result teamed up against a mutual enemy. I guess you could say that the Yonko followed the motto of keep your friends close, but your enemies closer. Marco openly states that he will support Luffy, not because Whitebeard said so, but out of his own free will. And furthermore, we also shouldn't forget that he was a former crewmate and close friend of Odin's. The fact that Big Mom doesn't attack him right here, right now, together with her oldest son, once again speaks for this mutual level of respect, even though they now stand on opposite sides. Small scene, but so much important character building here for all three of them. Next, we get a quick update on some other characters. Sadly, we still have to wait for the much anticipated battle between Usopp and Nami and Ulti and Page 1, as well as Drake and Zoro facing off either against Queen or Apu. However, Carrot, who we haven't seen in a while, apparently was somewhere close to the exit, as she immediately recognizes Perospero as the one who was responsible for Pedro's death and rushes off to avenge him. Meanwhile, Luffy has managed to break away from the battle at the live stage and is heading for Kaido now. And quite unsurprisingly, Shinobu and Momo haven't exactly been convinced by Yamato to let her protect them as Oden, and we see the two running away from her. At first, I was honestly a little bit disappointed that we didn't stay with them a little bit longer. But of course, I couldn't know that the largest part of this chapter would be the epic clash between Kaido and the Scabbards. As a lead up to the fight, Oda does something quite creative and shows Black Maria, who has returned to her quarters, playing a song for her followers on a shamisen. She sings about two people desperate to meet each other, but unable to do so until they finally reunite in the moonlight of a snowy night, perfectly fitting the setting on top of the dome. Now, while I definitely could imagine some music playing in the background while we cut to the battle, I think this is specifically written for the anime, where I can't wait to see this scene animated. Just imagine going to the calm quarters of Black Maria and her slowly starting to play and sing, and then under the rising music, we see the epic battle between Kaido and the Scabbards. Boy, I really hope they have a great voice actor for Black Maria in the anime, just because of this scene right here. Also, just like Big Mom doesn't give a fuck about having a relaxed chat with Marco in the middle of a war, Black Maria also can't seem to be bothered and is holding a concert for her people. Next level badass. Who said that One Piece doesn't have strong female characters? Okay, time for the highlight of this chapter. The battle between the Scabbards and Kaido. To comprehend just how great this fight is, we just have to look at the artwork alone. This fight features 5 double pages. All panels are created with a lot of dynamic, and we get the sense of a movie sequence, cutting between close-ups of individual faces, mid-range shots of the fight, and then some zoom-outs of Onigashima overall. The battle truly feels like a storyboard, and I think that Oda makes it really easy for the animators to adapt this chapter close to the original. We also have fantastic contrast and lighting, with all of the fire and thunder framing the shaded characters, giving the entire scene an epic feel. And the small flashback with Oden in between is more than just a cherry on top, but an essential moment to give this scene here even more context and meaning, just like for example the small panel of Drake talking with Kobe gave his decision to fight with Luffy the necessary justification. Also, I think it's worth noting that while the pacing felt a little bit off, especially during the second act, I think, Onigashima so far has been on point. You can just follow everything that's going on effortlessly, despite the chaos and the scale of things. And the battle here in particular has just the right pacing as well, film-like. Here, Kaido reveals a new attack, in which he's able to shoot thunder from his mouth as well. However, the Scabbards are able to evade it, and all of them manage to land at least one hit on Kaido in this chapter. Nekomamushi is able to scratch him, Kawamatsu is able to cut his face, but also gets smashed into the ground by Kaido, which by the way I think is important to give the entire thing an organic feel and a bit of balance. Inuarashi stabs Kaido, and Kiku and Izo launch an epic long-range combo attack on him. Kaido then prepares to launch another round of his Borrow Breath. However, this time, it's not Kinemon who steps in, but Raizo, from whom we honestly have seen by far the least in this arc so far, I think. He completely makes up for it here though, by giving us some proper Naruto vibes. He uses a giant scroll to absorb and store Kaido's destructive attack, then wraps the scroll around him and releases his own attack back on him. I'm gonna be honest, this might have been my favorite moment of the chapter. Raizo really needed that moment, and he made full use of it. And what makes this even more intriguing is that we still don't know what exactly his power is. And then of course we have the flashback, in which we see Oden trying to teach his retainers his two-sword style and about Ryo. However, they decline, saying that they all have developed their own styles already. And I think that this chapter really proves that. And yet 4 of them, Kinemon, Shutenmaru, Inuarashi and Denjiro, apparently have mastered both anyway, as the 4 of them face off Kaido and in a united effort reopen the wound that Oden has inflicted on Kaido. Once again, I want to quickly address the passionate power scalers in the community. For the longest time, people were complaining that the samurai weren't strong enough. Now that they are though, it's also a problem apparently. And yet it was Oden himself that told Kaido to not underestimate them. And similarly, none other than Akainu himself didn't want to get involved with them. I think that should say plenty about their true power. And so, as Kaido himself stated last chapter, this doesn't mean that he is weak, but simply that the samurai are really strong. And people seem to forget that during his introduction, it was explicitly stated that Kaido had lost a number of times. People are unable to kill him, true, and he also is said to win in a 1v1, also true. But this isn't a 1v1, but him facing off against 9 of the strongest fighters of Wano, who have literally inherited Oden's will. This here is a story about samurai in Japan, so of course Oda will pay some tribute to that. And so I'm pretty sure that this battle might very well last until chapter 1000. What do you think about that? Let me know. Thanks guys. Peace.